Now, joining us for the balance of the hour is Emad Salem, emadsalem.org, EMADSALEM.org. He's the best-selling author of On the Run, Life After Undercover. You want to understand what really happened with the situation back in the early 1990s with the first World Trade Center bombing. He was there. He tried to stop it and was ordered to stand down. That's even been in the New York Times. And we're going to go to break here in a moment and go through it all. But Emad Salem is the former Egyptian military colonel who went undercover with the FBI and infiltrated the first al-Qaeda cell on American soil in New York City in '93 World Trade Center bombing. He also penetrated the headquarters of al-Qaeda in America under the leadership of the blind sheikh Omar Abdel Rahman and the underground terrorist cell who were planning to blow up the landmarks of New York City and become the government star witness in the Day of Terror trial. He is the author of Undercover, The Untold Story of Al-Qaeda, the FBI, and CIA in America. You should get the book just to support somebody that has as much courage as he did. And, of course, the L.A. Times breaks down how powerful his book is as well in a review. Seeking a sense of purpose, FBI informant decides to tell all. We're going to break in about a minute and a half. He wants to get into the attacks, but let me ask him this question. We appreciate him coming on in the 1 minute we have. Colonel, is there a method behind the madness to bring in millions of people from known Wahhabist, jihad-held areas into Europe and the United States? What is Obama? What is Merkel? What is the French president? What are they thinking?
Well, I think bringing these refugees into our homeland is a big mistake. And I think that will jeopardize the safety of the American people. And we got exposed to the day of mayhem in 1993. And thankfully, we were able to foil that plot. The same day of mayhem happened in Paris on Friday. And the lack of the intelligence did not let the French people to be able to stand on the top of the terrorists. At this time, I think it's a big mistake if we allow these people. They are Wahhabis, as you said. They are Sunnis, and we don't know who is who.
Well, Colonel, stay there. I want to come back as you're the expert. You've infiltrated these groups all over the world. Stay with us, sir. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show. I'm Alex Jones. This is a short 6-minute segment, big, long 18-minute segment coming up. Emad Salem is our guest. He was, of course, an Egyptian army colonel sent over here to work with the CIA and the FBI. Well, he already had moved here, began working with them to try to stop radical jihad groups, the first al-Qaeda cell inside the United States. And he is a specific expert, obviously, fighting Wahhabists, fighting radical Sunnis, and other groups here in the United States and overseas. And he wants to go over his condolences to France, the similarity between the simultaneous attack on France and the simultaneously bombing of the day of the terror attack on New York City they were planning, the Russian plane in Egypt, and so much more. So, sir, please continue with your breakdown of what is, I mean, our governments aren't stupid. So what are they planning, allowing these groups in that we know we're going to end up attacking and have been attacking? And then I specifically want to flesh out where you think ISIS is going in all of this, and are they double-crossing some of the Western governments that were aiding them in the fight against Assad?
Well, Alex, unfortunately, if we allow this group of Sunni Wahhabist people to enter into our land, there is no doubt in my mind that it will happen again. We already got attacked in 1993 by the same group, however, different name, it's all the same ideology. And we were able to stop 5 bombs from going simultaneously in the Holland Tunnel, Lincoln Tunnel, the Washington Bridge, the headquarters of the FBI in New York City in 26 Federal Plaza, and the United Nations building. Unfortunately, they succeeded to pull that trick in France, and the day of mayhem happened in France last week. My biggest condemnation to that cowardly attack, to attack people who are not armed, civilian, people has nothing to do with their corrupt ideology, and they attack them when they are in a regular day having fun. If we allow these people, the same group, to enter into our homeland, it will happen again. But again, I don't know if our government wanted that to happen again, to start to take our liberty out of our hand more and more, and put more restriction on the media, like you, Alex, for example. I'm sure there is a lot of governmental agencies would like to shut your show up.
Yes, sir.
And unfortunately, if we can stop this madness from happening before it happened, and then they will say, oops, it happened again, and they let these people to start to hurt the American people, to give them a reason to start to monitor more and to take our liberty out of our hand.
And this from a former Egyptian Army colonel, Emad Salem, who tried to stop the first World Trade Center attack. The higher-ups above him at the FBI were doing their job as well, but they were basically countermanded. And so the bombing went forward, and we know that story because he recorded them, he taped them, not just the terrorists, but also the government, basically involved in the partial stand-down. And for whatever reason, that bombing went forward, but you were able, as you said, to stop the other bombings. Looking at this situation in Europe, if we're bringing in such large numbers of ISIS, just from a gut level, Colonel, it tells me that when there are attacks, there's going to be a lot more of them and they're going to be bigger. Is that accurate to say?
It is very accurate, Alex. And there is something I would like to bring it to the American people's attention. Merkel in Germany was kind enough to open her doors to the immigrants, and the consequences was really hefty, that on the day of the soccer game, they had the tip that there is a terrorist attack going to happen. They vacated the stadium, and it never heard in the American mainstream media that they uncovered an ambulance loaded with explosive parked near the stadium, ready to get blown up at the people of Germany.
Wow.
And this has never been published in American mainstream media. I never heard it in American media.
Colonel, stay there. You're going to have the floor when we come back because you have incredible credibility. New York Times, LA Times, everything you've ever talked about has been proven. I was unaware of this. Please tell us the sources and what happened. We know about the evacuation, the canceling of the football game, the soccer game, but I did not know that they actually had the explosives-laden ambulance that was discovered. This is incredible. Imagine if it would have gone off. It could have killed thousands. We'll cover it all straight ahead. He was a Army colonel in the Egyptian military who had a lot of experience dealing with radicals and extremists who want to seize power. And the main group is coming out of Saudi Arabia generally, and that, of course, is the Wahhabist radical version of Sunni Islam. Most Sunni Muslims are not radical. They don't want to terrorize people. But it is this group that continues to carry out most of the terror worldwide. And I want to get later into the fact that Egypt's been forced to now start working with Russia. Our government has double-crossed Egypt on record. They've had trials there where it's come out. The Muslim Brotherhood's being financed by Obama through Kenya. I mean, this is a really reckless, bizarre move by Obama. And I never believed that he secretly worked with radical Islam and had some plan, because I've been against conquering these countries, invading them, destabilizing them. As folks know, I was against the Iraq War. But now I see what Obama's doing. It's not in the U.S. interest. It's not in anybody's interest. It's not in people's interest in Sunni countries to be under these Wahhabists. And it just gets worse and worse and worse and crazier. And they're catching just huge numbers of these folks coming in now, and they're bringing them in. And Obama says he'll veto a bill just to screen these people who they admit 5 out of 6 passports are fake. These aren't Syrian refugees. These are jihadis that went in there to take over. Now, I'm going to stop ranting. Again, Colonel Emad Salem is the best-selling author of On the Run. You can go to his website and find the book and read it and show it to your friends and family, emadsalem.org. I'm going to tweet that out, by the way, at Real Alex Jones and tell folks to get this hero's book because he risked his life and a lot more to bring us this information. He's telling you right now specifically what's going on. So we ended, and I actually Googled it, and here it is in the foreign press. Ambulance full of explosives reportedly found near German stadium. But we never heard this here in the United States, as he said. So, Colonel, please continue.
Yes, sir. You mentioned the Kenyan connection with the Muslim Brotherhood, and that shows in Mr. Obongo Obama. Mr. Obongo Obama is Mr. Barack Hussein's brother in Kenya, and he is the main support line for the Muslim Brotherhood in Africa. Unfortunately, the Muslim Brotherhood started to blackmail Mr. Obama, and the Egyptian intelligence, of course, leaked to the media. And if you have that newspaper, it's called El Ahram newspaper, that is the governmental main issue of newspaper who talks on behalf of the government. Mr. Obama succeeded to alienate Egypt from working and cooperating with America, alienating Saudi Arabia from cooperating with America. And we know that we have Libya stable, we have Syria stable, and we have Iraq under the Iranian control. And Mr. Obama, unfortunately, become alienated from this country, not getting their support in that kind of war. And this is the most Sunni Arab countries knows how to talk the talk and walk the walk when it comes on war on terrorists. But unfortunately, I don't know why Mr. Obama have to support the Muslim Brotherhood. And you can see the headline in Al Ahram newspaper that the Muslim Brotherhood warning Mr. Obama not to withdraw his support from them, or they're going to release documentation to jeopardize his throne.
Wow, Colonel, this is incredible because Dr. Jerome Corsi, as you know, has worked in the Middle East for the State Department and done a lot of other work. He has published in WorldNet Daily a lot of what the Egyptian government and courts have brought out, including the documents. But now by Obama's actions, from the threats of a year ago of blackmail, we see it's working. That makes sense why Obama would do things that aren't even good for him, because his cousins and half-brothers and others are on record working with them. They are very daring that they would try to blackmail a president of the United States. And it looks like, if you're correct, and I think the evidence shows you are, they have really outclassed him and really double-crossed him. Can you expand on that and break down where you see this going and what you think ISIS and the Muslim Brotherhood, kind of their spokesmen, are going to do?
Well, at this time, this is the newspaper in the Middle East. If you see the intelligence on the Egyptian streets today, you can see how they portray Mr. Obama, how they portrayed him with the big beard and a turban, and they asking him to stop his support to the Muslim Brotherhood because they are bombing inside Cairo. They are bombing inside the Muslim Arab countries, and we want to open the door for them to come to America to start to carry their bombings as well up here. Unfortunately for Germany, they don't want to admit this ambulance full of explosive because it is against what the president of Germany had done, that she allowed these people to enter her country, and now they will start the bombings and they will start to suffer great deal of pain from that fanatic group. And if we let these people to enter here, we're going to have the same consequences, and then we will lose our liberty. I want to go back to Mr. Obama's first speech in Egypt, in Cairo, Egypt. The first visit when he went there, and he